Hey guys, this is John Callum from KHL Motorsport, and this is the Contact Patch Podcast, where the rubber meets the road. And on this episode, we are going to discuss and revisit a previous episode that we've done, which is regarding the Expressway regulation against motorcycles below 400cc displacement. But before that one, let us first thank our sponsor for today's episode. Hey guys, I'd like to take this opportunity to thank our sponsor for today's podcast episode, KVI Quick Lube, your source for tires, wheels, batteries, and lubricants in the Sucat Parañaque area. Today's featured product is a Sumax All-Terrain AT tire. My mom has been using that tire in her expander in the 205 7015 size. And they're a touch on the loud side, but they're not too obtrusive when you drive it on the highway. And we're very satisfied with the grip that it has. And of course, it's rugged, good looks with white lettering on its sidewall. So my mom loves it, and I also appreciate its technical capabilities. If you think that it is a clone of the BF Goodrich KO2, you're not far off. And yet it costs less than half the price of the equivalent KO2. So we really hope that you would consider the Sumax All-Terrain 80 to outfit in your car, truck, or SUV. Sumac stars are available at KVI Quick Lube. Please check out KVI Quick Lube on Facebook. It is facebook.com/kvi.quiklube. Once again, thank you, KVI Quick Lube, for sponsoring today's episode of the Contact Patch Podcast. Alright, thank you for your support, and let's get back to the topic at hand. I couldn't sleep one night, and then I managed to ramble on a Facebook page, and it was the Visor FB page. So Visor is a motoring media outfit run by Sir Vernon Sarne, and they typically post stuff related to the silly things that motorists do, ostensibly for all motorists in the Philippines to improve themselves. So by showing all the gaffes and wrong stuff that other people do, I guess their initiative is to make sure that others learn from the examples of those who have made mistakes and improve motoring. They posted about this guy who has a motorcycle that is less than 400 cc's in displacement. That guy was able to sneak his motorcycle inside NLEX and drive his motorcycle in the road. And he survived and was able to pay the toll. And the mistake of the guy was to spread it and share it in social media. And so that the guys from Visor shared it. Now it is very much being discussed right now. And most likely that the LTO will be involved, and the guy might get into some serious legal trouble. So I sympathize with the guy regarding his future predicament. It just goes to prove that these lower cc motorcycles are capable enough to ply the expressways. Because he didn't die. That's one. And number two, it is my impression that he was able to cruise in the speed that every other motorist in the expressways are driving at. And so I added my 2 cents and commented, and I probably delayed my sleep because of that one. But I guess it is a good topic to discuss for this episode. So we're going to revisit this topic. If you want to listen more, you can listen to the previous episode. I'm not going to discuss those points again. I might raise it up again, but I won't focus on what I've already raised. But now we should discuss the issues that people have raised against lowering the displacement limit. And people are against lowering the displacement limit due to the following issues. Basically, there are four factors, right? Number one, they claim that expressways are, due to the speed of cars traveling them, are unsafe for motorcyclists. Second point, that the motorcyclists that you will be allowing, the new guys, will be unskilled and undisciplined, and so that it would pose a danger for them to ply expressways. Number three, the bikes that are normally of a smaller displacement are a touch too small, and people are worried that they'll be pushed around by wind and also unable to maintain cruising speed on the expressways. Point four, there is also a thing that in case of violations or people being camotes or people driving stupidly, it would be hard to catch those type of guys because there's probably limited enforcement or inutile enforcement by those who are in charge of maintaining order on those expressways. So those are the four major points. Let's discuss them one by one, shall we? Okay, the first point. Expressways, they say it's unsafe for motorcyclists because it's so fast. People are driving so fast on the expressways. Well, I told you guys that I took a long trip to Bicol and back. Flying the national roads, basically we're only averaging 30 kilometers per hour. While if you are on the expressway, you can easily double your average speed. So yeah, so there definitely is a doubling because tracking the average speed with my MGZS trip computer, I could really tell that the average speed is very much increased by a factor of 2 at minimum when you ply the expressway versus the national road. So yeah, I agree. Driving on the expressway is faster. But I countered with people that it's actually safer for people to drive those limited access expressways like we have here, like SLEX, NLEX, and so on. One way to really figure out is because there are already motorcycles plying the expressways. One thing we need to know is on a per capita basis, the rate of accidents happening on expressways versus the amount of accidents happening on other roads. We need to get a data set that will give us that answer in order for us to really determine whether or not expressways are unsafe for motorcycles or not. But since that data set is missing and probably still has to be researched and data should be requested from the toll operators, let us use a proxy dataset that we can determine whether or not our question is true or false. A cursory research through Google landed me with US data released by the NHTSA agency, the one responsible for highway traffic safety, I guess, in the US. They had the 2007 study that in the year 2005, 91% of crashes with motorcycles happened outside of interstate highways. 6 out of 10 crashes of motorcycles happened in urban areas. Guys, there are, on a per capita basis, as a percentage of total number of motor vehicles, America has way fewer motorcycles than cars. Right? Here, we definitely have more motorcycles than cars. Alright? Of course, you guys can refute me that expressway driving is unsafe. Then show me the data in the Philippines. But given this very good proxy data set, which can also apply very roughly, that's why it's called a proxy. The data shows that interstate highways are safer. Because limited access expressways have design features that make motoring safer. And the things that I'm gonna mention, I just found it on the internet. In normal roads, traffic is traveling at varying speeds in multiple directions. Right? There are more distractions. People are looking to their left, to the right, to the center, and people are going helter skelter everywhere. And people still speed, whether it's on expressways, whether it's on national roads, even if it's on private roads, public roads, whatever. The narrower roads makes speed or speeding more dangerous. And there's so many things that can be struck on the side of the road. So many road hazards on the side, or even sometimes on the center, construction areas, cars parked on the side. And in the provinces, people drying up their palay on the side, they're parking their jeeps and their kuligligs and their kalabaws or whatever. It's a whole list of stuff. So I'm not gonna dwell on that. But on the expressways, you're basically people are just going one direction, and there's a center island that prevents people from causing head-on collisions, right? And there are no interchanges. I mean, there are interchanges that replace the dreaded intersections with stoplights and all that, because intersections really are the cause of many a traffic accident, right? There are no pedestrians walking on the side of the road. So this is why, among other things, limited access expressways are safer. So given that these roads are definitely safer and that motorcycles accidents really tend to happen on roads away from expressways, in Tagalog, bakit natin ipagkakait sa kanila ang magandang kalye na pwede naman sila bumaybay na hindi naligtas sila? Right? Tinatagalog ko na, guys. I'm saying it already in Filipino for people to understand. Okay, and then of course I have other points that I've mentioned in the previous episode. Okay. Okay, the second opposing opinion is that the riders are unskilled and they're undisciplined. All right. Okay, fine. We don't have probably the best educational system for motoring in the Philippines, but in general, there are spoken and unspoken rules of driving and riding in the country. And in general, people are able to, I guess, with a month or two or three experience riding and driving every day, people will get to understand the folkways, the customs, the traditions, the rules of the road, so to speak. Therefore, in general, when I drive every day, I really do see that people more or less follow traffic rules, even on the expressways. Yeah, there are some people who hug the inside lane, the overtaking lane, but other people also maintain themselves in the middle lanes and on the shoulder lanes. It's not everybody who is pasaway or is not understanding or not following the rules and regulations. Of course, there are people who are a-holes, you know. But in general, and if you really take the amount of people who are a-holes versus the people who are straight, the vast majority of motorists, whether riders or drivers, drive pretty well and drive pretty safe. Okay, conversely, if you're a kamote, that's not exclusive to motorcyclists themselves, right? I live close to the expressways. Every weekend, I hear the sports cars, supercars revving their nuts out on the skyway. I can hear it from 1-2 kilometers away. Their high-pitched engines and so on and so forth, able to reach my house. It's kind of elitist to just call these motorcycle drivers kamotes, you know, or the sweet potato in English. I hate that form of discrimination, and I really hope that the Filipinos avoid discriminating against their fellow Filipino, even though they are poorer and drive only small motorcycles and so on, and maybe they're unlettered supposedly. I guess it's the tendency of people to just put other people down. So that kind of sucks. So I'm kind of the opposite. I like to look at positive things about other people. Even my worst enemy, I think positive of them. It's something I really don't like about the Filipino psyche, that they a little bit crabby. Like what I said, not everybody is undisciplined and unskilled. Okay? And those who continue to be kamotes or who be a-hole drivers and riders, well, maybe they can win a Darwin Award. So, bahala na sila. And if you're worried that, oh, they cannot manage the highway speed, they don't know how to drive the highway, I mean, if you allow them to drive on the highway pretty quickly and pretty soon, they'll figure out how to drive on the expressway. It's no big deal. Expressway driving is the easiest. Okay? It's easy as compared to driving on the urban roads. Alright? And driving skills is a matter of practice. You give more time to these guys to drive the expressways in their smaller bikes, they'll be able to manage. Okay? And especially with the third point, the worry that the two small bikes will be pushed by wind. I mean, an average rider will be able to manage crosswinds and buffeting from other cars. Alright? Of course, if it's a typhoon, no one will be a buffoon to ply the roads when there's a extreme weather event. You can count that out. Okay? But if you're worried that the motorcyclist cannot manage overtaking a truck, a big truck, especially with all the buffeting and the winds pushing off of the body as it travels through high speed, I'm sure that the motorcycle rider can manage that one. Alright? Because also, aerodynamically, the motorcyclist is small as compared to a car, as compared to a bus, as compared to a truck. So smaller objects are less affected by wind buffeting than bigger ones. Of course, I've not driven my motorcycle on the expressway. I don't have an expressway legal bike. Okay, I only have a 150cc bike. So I'm sure that the other big bikers can chime in if they're really super duper affected by wind buffeting from other cars. That they cannot travel or they cannot overtake anymore forever. So I'd like to know from the expert riders, what do they think about this effect on wind against their bodies as they travel the expressways. Do let us know in the comments. Okay, and finally, the last point is that, these motorcycle riders, they're gonna do stupid stuff, and the law enforcement will be inutile to stop them. So there's an issue on that one. Well, they'll always be inutile forever, in the past, in the present, in the future. It makes no difference. Idiots will be idiots, kamotes will be kamotes. Alright? So if that be the case, if justice is selective, what can we do? Then we have to take justice to our own hands and just drive safe. And be alert. Be a safe driver, be an alert driver. Let people who want to kill themselves. As long as we keep ourselves safe, let us attempt to keep ourselves safe. If you guys have any comments, just do let me know if I'm wrong, if I'm right. For me, this is just my opinion, and of course, given my economics background, my motoring back experience, also looking at the examples of other countries, guys. Japan allows motorcycles above 125 cc's to ply their expressways. Again, their speed limit is only 100 kilometers per hour, same like ours. In certain expressways, it's 60 to 80, just like ours. And if 125cc motorcycle can hack it, I mean, come on. Malaysia is even crazier. They allow 50cc motorcycles to go in their expressways. I don't know how they manage. That's how it is in other countries. When I went to Malaysia, I was shocked. Motorcyclists, with the underbones and all that, are driving on the freeways, on the expressways that they have. I was telling my Malaysian friend, look, this is not allowed in the Philippines. But apparently, it's allowed in Malaysia, and for them, it's no problem. Does that mean that their governments are derelict in their duty to keep lives? I don't think so. I really propose that the displacement minimum capacity should be reduced. But to what extent, of course, it depends to our lawmakers, those who have the capacity to discern what is best for us. But if I were to state my opinion, maybe set it to 175 cc's. Because definitely the Titan 250 guy proved it that he could drive on the expressway, even though it's illegal, but his motorcycle can do it. So, I mean, a 200 cc motorcycle is attainable by people, not so expensive. It's more than capable to drive and cruise at 60 to 80 to even 100 kilometers per hour. Heck, my CBR 150R version 2, the top speed, stock top speed is 130 kilometers per hour. It can definitely hold 80 kilometers per hour, no problem. Okay, Sniper 150, Raider 150, those underbones, they can travel, they can cruise at 60, 80, no problem. Is it safe to do so? I don't know. There's a lot of camotes with those motorcycles, supposedly. But again, the problem is we're living in a political world where it is the people's will. Vox populi, vox dei. And sometimes rational thinking is sidestepped towards democracy, so to speak. It really remains to be seen whether or not this is really a good idea or not. I think it's a good idea, but if it's not politically palatable to the average motorist, then what can I do and what can I say? So, what do you guys think? Do let me know, and I'd like to hear from you if there's anyone listening to this podcast. We know it's not that popular. Anyway, it's fun to do, and anyway, it's portfolio building for us, and at least it enables us to vent steam, so to speak. But yeah, that's it for this topic. And finally, before I stop talking, I'd like to announce that we have set up a Patreon account. If you guys really like what we do, the projects that we build, the stuff that we do, we also would appreciate that you support us. Yeah, our Patreon account is patreon.com/KHL Motorsport. Yeah, hopefully that you guys are able to support us on this one. Anyway, that's it. That's all I wanted to say. Thank you guys so much for listening to this one. Thank you so much. God bless. See you on the next episode of the Contact Patch Podcast. See you guys. Ciao.